Welcome to the Range Wars. The galaxy is gripped by the iron fist of the combustion empire, whose fleets are noisy, polluting machines that choke an entire star system. Fueled by ancient fossil fuel relics, they cling to power through fear, smoke, and the roar of exhaust. But hope is not lost. From the shadows rise a new alliance, the electric rebellion, silent, swift, and powered by clean energy. I think you can tell I'm reading here. They fight to free stars from dependence of oil. Armed with renewable power and a vision of a brighter future, the rebels charge forward, determined to bring balance to the galaxy and ignite a spark of change that will topple the empire once and for all. Welcome to YEV. That's right. This is the start of the Range Wars. Well, it's been going a while, hasn't it, chaps? But I think the rebellion's not been doing too well with that. But this is all because, and I'll do an intro in a minute. This is all because our Luke Skywalker, aka Kevin Booker, has been fighting for the rebellion in EV Polestar with a couple of other rebellion comrades, something like that, comrades. Oh, there's a bit left, isn't it? And yeah, so we're here to talk. My name's Tim.
It strikes me that we've met. I'm Alex Grant, and this is Kevin Booker. And we've missed the obvious pun. Polestar Wars.
Polestar Wars. Oh yeah, you're right. Pole dancer wars. PWNE has just been, the more you tighten your grip, the more electrons will slip through your fingers. Hello from Phoenix. Hello indeed. Yes. So this all comes from, like I said, Kevin's been driving hard, driving very softly, actually. Kevin, do you want to give us a little intro why this is all about the Range Wars in this particular episode?
Well, one of the things is how far is long enough in an EV, because some of you might have read in various publications that I may have gone a long way in a Polestar 3 SUV, 581.3 miles to a single charge. So getting a new Guinness World Record for a large SUV.
That's a large section of the galaxy you could go across with that kind of mileage.
Well, it's more than half the UK.
There we go. So yeah, tell us all about it, and then we'll kick off and talk about, range and the importance and yeah, a little bit more to it than that. So yeah, far away, Kev.
So the car was the long range single motor Polestar 3, which is their newest model, which is, they class it as an E segment SUV. That's I didn't know there was an E segment, but clearly there's an E segment SUV. So yeah, we started off in the grid serve in Norwich with my two co-drivers, which was Sam Clark and Richard Parker, who's from Webfleet, who's our data guy that does all of the data tracking of it. And we basically drove 581 miles to a single charge in the Polestar 3. Got a bit dicey around Melton Mowbray near the end because we didn't realise, maybe should have researched before, there was a cycle race started around there the next day. And they
Wait, hang on. This is part of the game plan, isn't it? Because I'm pretty sure you said that Warren from EVA, that was one of his tricks to get efficiency up on the London to Brighton, wasn't it? To follow cyclists.
Yeah, that might have been. The problem being that they closed most of the roads our route was going to go down. So we were trying to reroute at like midnight on the fly with a small amount of battery left, how to get to the chargers. So, I mean, that's the one thing is Polestar 3 is the most subtle car when your battery's low. So when your battery's low, lots of cars like big panicky red screen, stop now. The Polestar, when you get to 3% battery, the little battery icon goes orange. And so they have to say, you might want to think about charging now. And then it turns to red at 1% and then flashes up power reduced and charge now. And then it's got this little power gauge, which shows you how much throttle you've got. And that there's a little grey bar, which slowly moves down as you go flatter to say how much it's limiting you by.
So I suppose my question is, how long were you driving on 0 miles, Kev?
So we did 8 miles on 0 miles. So that was 8 miles on 0 miles and 0%.
Ooh.
So
yeah, sounds a bit dicey. Sounds like you just entered a meteor field on that one.
Yeah, it went to an orange indicator from 10%. So that's nothing really shouty at all. But I mean, it was still driving above 30 miles an hour when it was at 0%. You could see that he wouldn't have given you full. I think it's over 300 brake horsepower. It wouldn't have given you full 300 brake horsepower at that point, but it was still quick enough.
Well, I want to say congratulations to yourself, Sam Clark and Richard Parker. So well done, guys, for another world record. Because I know that, there are these people that sometimes beat you with starting very high point and going downhill quite a lot of the time. So, no, well done, mate. Really, really good. And
I think one of the things with this as well is that the people who aren't really recognised in this as the support drivers, I mean, and this comes into range as well, is we were supported by a Polestar 2 driven by Sarah Sloman and my wife, Terry Booker. So they drove back and forth. They did over 600 miles using rapid chargers, obviously, to catch up with us and to bring the Guinness adjudicator and everything. So actually, it kind of shows how easy it is without doing the extremes of a Guinness World Record to do long distances in the car.
Well, I literally I check my mileage every time I need to stop. Not necessarily stop to charge, I hasten to add, because my car can do 250 miles, my 130k Tesla. And I always, no matter how much I push it, because I always start with a coffee, 120 miles is always my bladder range. And I think this is important to say that actually, I think bladder range tends to be more important than the range of these cars. And I was having a conversation with a friend, James, at a car show today. Amazing car show. That's why I'm slightly pink today. And I just want to say a massive thank you to the Modified MT3 Facebook group, Modified Model 3s, Ys. We had 11 electric cars at this car show. And there was all sorts of other cool vehicles there. Just shows that I was there by myself and one other electric car. I think it shows a lot of people that things are really, really moving forward from a EV perspective at certain events, that, the EV presence is there. But I was having this conversation with my friend. He said, yeah, but, it takes you 9 hours to get to Scotland. I was like, it doesn't. I got my Tesla app out. I was like, oh, yeah, hour and my car, 67%. Yeah, it would take 4.5 hours, and an hour and 10 minutes to that was charging. Yeah, but I only need to stop once. I was like, what, 10-minute drink? The thing is, people always go by their best case scenario, don't they? Where I'm just giving a real case scenario. But what's your bladder stops, guys? What's your kind of top mileage?
Depends on whether I've got the kids with me. I mean, we've got probably worst case scenario for long trips here because we've got the Rifter, which obviously on a good day, a good warm day when you can just have the blowers on and not have the AC going like at full pelt, and you're not driving through rain and all the other bits and pieces that can all drag things down a little bit, do 140 miles to full charge, probably close to the 140 mile mark. We tend to go for about 110 miles before one of the kids needs to stop and use the facilities or leg stretch or whatever. But realistically, that's usually off the best part of 2 hours at a time. And I mean, I did back in May, I went to a gig in Bedford. I stopped off at a mate's house in Hertford. I drove Cardiff to Hertford fully charged, got to Hertford with 45% rates than the Grandland. Got to Hertford, 45% range remaining. I hadn't been hypermiling. I'd been keeping up with traffic. I'd had air conditioning, climate control going the whole way. The following day, I came back via Reading, stopped off and got a coffee in Pret. I didn't charge it to anywhere near 80% because, I mean, obviously by that point, I was only 100 miles from home and you need about 30-40% by that point. Plugged it in 10-15 minutes, got home with loads of range left. So I just think it's a case of getting people to think around that whole difference between with a petrol car, you take it to a fuel station and you tend to fill it up. You don't do that with an EV. You kind of just plug it in, if it's getting a bit low, you can plug it in at home. If you're on the road, the range and the charging times are getting so good these days that you can just plug in when you stop, can't you? So, and the range then almost becomes kind of irrelevant over a certain point.
You say that, but there are people out there that treat an electric car like a petrol car. So I put out a video this morning where I went to Yanomize Live, which is a car event, and I was searching out EVs. I did a couple of interviews. And one of the interviews is an older chap. He had a Lotus electric car, the SUV. I forget the name. Yes, that's it. And he said, "Oh yeah, I treat it like a petrol diesel car. I just when it's getting low, I just go and fill it up." I was like, it's not really, Yeah, I think a lot of people realistically need to understand that. Yeah, okay, that is one way of doing it. And don't get me wrong, not every decent charging station has facilities for a coffee or a drink or a toilet break and stuff. Like the Oxford Tesla services, which my wife stopped at on the way back from Weymouth in Lucky, are now 224,000 mile Tesla. But yeah, I mean that should be. I think people should kind of get to grips with that. I think people should share that a little bit more. That charge when you stopped, whenever you can, because just to top up, unless you're over 80%, of course.
Yeah, I mean,
it's also that once. Am I on a delay? Once you get over 80%, it can often take longer to get from 80% to 100% and from 10% to 80%. Quite a lot longer, in fact. It's that fully charging is such an inefficient way of doing it. You're better off, especially in something massive where you've got hundreds of miles of range, just unplug at 80% and do another charging stop further on down the line, and you'll get, in the time that you could be waiting up to get 100%, you probably do another 10 to 80% charge. It is a change of habits, but it's once you get your head around that, it's easy.
I mean, ranges are getting so huge at the moment. So the fact this week I'm in the new Ford Capri, which is the all-wheel drive performance one. It's the newer powertrains. It's a 79 kilowatt hour usable battery pack. But I drove from Swansea to the Farmer's Dog Pub and back again with a bit of a diversion to get to water and wetlands centre to get the last sculpture from the Wallace and Gromit trail. No problem again, easily. I mean, even it's funny, we joked, my wife and I, when we were getting back, the warning light came on at 10%, and we were joking. The 10% in the Capri is 41 miles range, which is more than half the range our first Zoe would have had. That would be like, we've still got half a charge left, and that's just the reserve now.
And I know we like, a bit joking with the EV versus ICE range wars, but I think we're at that point now. Unless it's like a specific city car, like a small car with a small battery, which is only supposed to be for city. I think all the new EVs now, I mean, I think the range is absolutely fine. It's really just the charging infrastructure in certain places now, and obviously the price, and if you haven't got a driveway or cheap charging at work or what have you. So I think the range, I think there isn't a EV versus ICE anymore, unless you've got a bladder of steel and you don't I don't know, a 3-minute stop, which not many people do. Like Alex said, you want to stretch your legs, like I said, grab a coffee. And most service stations, it takes you about 5 minutes to walk to the toilet. So you're going to walk all the way to the end, haven't you? So I think realistically, it's there now, isn't it? It is there.
Yeah, I agree. And the charging time's only going to get better. Yeah. We're done. 15 minutes in.
There we go. with that bombshell. But yeah, Kev, do you think there's? I mean, you are. I was going to say to Kev, you are the range expert. You laugh in the face of WLTP mileage claims, unless it's certain models that we won't mention, unless you want to mention them. So
I've yet to find a car I can't beat WLTP on.
Okay.
So I mean, even it's when I had the Skywell B11 and did that epic 650-mile road trip in a day, that still delivered over 300 miles range. Yeah, it wasn't as fast a charger as say the Capri, but one thing that you do have to consider, it's £30,000 less than the Capri, which when you put it into perspective, yes, the Capri is a really nice car, but it is a £60,000 car.
Yeah.
I love, by the way, the Kevin, of all places you could take the Capri, you took it to Clarkson's place. I'm surprised you didn't get, go and try and troll people to the point where you end up getting lynched and burned at the stake. But
it was a spur
of
of the
all the
moment
EVs that you could have taken there,
I think I've had a first.
it's a brave spur of the moment thing.
I love the fact that you said the Capri, which is probably the most, from a petrol head point of view, the most hated electric car in so many ways. But
Yeah.
I had a first today, which I'm going to have to share it on the shorts. I was told that to stop making, I was told that my car was being too loud at the car show today. I was told off because my electric car was too loud. That's got to be a first. That's got to be a first.
Yeah.
Don't know why.
Hooligan.
To be fair, when I did go to the Farmer's Dog, I was glad of the all-wheel drive because the car park was quite big and it was, slightly stony. So, that all-wheel drive helped.
Yeah, you didn't have to get pulled out by a tractor by, I can't remember his name now. Who's his farmer's hand?
When you mean Caleb or
Caleb, yes. Yeah, Caleb.
Or did
Pull
Harry
you out with
the
a
other one?
tractor. Yeah, it's I do really want to go there at some point. Have they got EV chargers there, Kevin?
They haven't, but I will admit it was very well organised. So they've got a massive car park now. So it's not when we've tried in the past. We've tried to go to Diddley Squat Farm Shop. It's been chaos with people parking everywhere. They've done it right now. So it's got a massive car park in the field there. It's got pathways to it. It's all really organised. Everything's in. You get to see the Grand Tour tent because that's where some of the stuff was. And they had live music there. As much as he gets criticism, all the stuff there is British sourced food. So it's got quite a lot of less travel distance. You can't have ketchup on your burgers, which is a thing because there is no ketchup that isn't made.
What's the substitute? This is important to talk about. What is the substitute for ketchup?
I don't know. They do have their own ketchup now, which is made in the UK.
That'll do. Yeah.
So
that'll do indeed. Yeah.
It was slightly more expensive, but it's no more expensive than other farm shops. I mean, you could easily spend a fortune there with all the merchandise if you really wanted to. But yeah, it was really well organised. It didn't feel crammed and stuff, and it was just live music there. It's actually quite probably a pleasant evening out. If you could stay there a bit later.
No, nice. No, I do definitely.
It's one I'd like to go to.
Sorry, go on, Alex.
No, I was going to say it's one I'd like to go to, and places like that where you've got people coming and you are sort of charging more of a premium for stuff are going to be, to my mind, it's an easy win to have EV charging there because you're gonna kind of have people in sort of newer cars visiting, and more of those are going to be electric. So, spend your time in the farm shop. When you leave, you've got a little bit more range to get you back home. I think it's all part of it, isn't it?
To be fair, some of the car park was like a car show. There's some people who go there in some quite high-end cars, Porsches, high-end stuff like that.
Yeah, maybe I need to put something on Twitter to say they could really do with a destination charger there. They've probably got no power there, to be fair. Judging by the recent series and how many issues they're having powering up the actual kitchen. So maybe suggest the battery storage, some solar, maybe a wind turbine, and then get escorted off the premises. Yeah, it's good fun. But yeah, like I said, I don't think it's a war anymore about range. It's just there, unless you get in like a much older used car. But even still, a Corsa. What could you get, Kev? Out of the next door neighbours just bought a Corsa 2021. Was it 54 kilowatt hour battery? It says it's 175 mile range. Do you remember what you used to get at that? When you?
So the old Corsa, was the one I used to struggle to get to match range. The new motor is
that's what we've got in the Rifter.
Yeah. So it's weird how they've. And that's the thing that people forget is there's been a quiet evolution going on the efficiency of these cars. So the early ones were, because I remember loads of people saying when the original E208 was launched, because it was going to have 100 kilowatt CCS, they nicknamed that was going to be the Zoe killer for EVs, but it wasn't. It just didn't go as far as the Zoe. It was less efficient. But this new one is it's phenomenal. Of all the cars I've tested on my Eco Loop, so the one I got 6.4 miles per kilowatt out of the Capri, that Eco Loop in the new Corsa, no air conditioning, but warmer weather, over 8.1 miles per kilowatt hour out of it. Literally, It's the only car that's beaten the original, the second generation Ioniq there. So that's how much of an improvement to their powertrain they've made. It's just, I don't know how they've done it. I mean, I know it's in conjunction with Nidec, who used to make hard drive, well, they still do make hard drive motors, and they've been in the motor business for a while. So I think it's just a combination of better motors, better inverters and stuff, because I know the new Berlingo and stuff hasn't got the new motor, but it's more efficient. So I don't know if it's the
power got a new battery pack in it.
Okay.
Berlingo and etc. have all got a new battery pack, which is probably part of it.
Or
I'm just thinking. No, go on, you go, mate. You go.
Yeah, or is it a detuned version of the Nidec motor, just with the same power output?
Well, maybe.
The old one.
The interesting thing with it is that I mean, you're starting to see now. So BMW's just switched the iX to silicon carbide inverters, which are more efficient, and they're able to do higher powered charging in that. You're going to start to see more and more of these technologies coming through that just nibble away at it, because your two things that you want in this. Higher efficiency and faster charging speeds, and you can nibble away at both of those, and both of those effectively extend the range. Because if you're able to charge quicker, you can get more when you do stop. Because we're already at the stage where it's a fair old sprint to get. Say the Grandland, but I know I keep picking on the Grandland, but in terms of being kind of a good value, right in the middle of a kind of a big selling segment car, that'll do 300 miles to a charge, realistically, without any effort. Doing 300 miles in one sitting is quite a feat. That is hard work. So, the more you can claw back when you do stop, that kind of effectively extends the range. And all that it does then is makes it seem a bit daft that you've got a massive, massive battery that you're looking around for the other, in a lot of cases, 330 odd days of the year that you're not doing long distance trips. You're hauling around a huge heavy battery. There reaches a point where you just have to recognize that it's different tech, and you don't need 700 miles of range in a car like that, or 1200. I think the longest range car I've driven was the first generation Insignia diesel, the 2-litre diesel, and I did an eco run in that. I drove from I've lost you, Luton to Ruffelsheim and back, so from Vauxhall HQ to Opel HQ and back, and we still had nearly 200 miles of range in that car, and that's great and all the rest of it, but that is excessive range. Like, that is a huge amount of range. Interesting, actually, on that note, petrol and diesel cars, the range of petrol and diesel cars is actually going down on the whole, because a lot of them post WLTP, when that's part of that test cycle, you want to kind of keep the weight down, and so a number of vehicles ended up with quite small fuel tanks. The Audi A4 got like a 40-litre fuel tank when the 2015 model came out. You had to actually specifically add the 58-litre tank to it, and it's like, actually, it's quite interesting that the days of having, so the Insignia that I drove had something like a 70-litre fuel tank in it. You don't get that anymore on almost anything unless you add it as an optional extra. So the range of ICE cars is actually going down, which is quite interesting too.
But I think that the consensus is by people that don't drive EVs, and probably some that do drive EVs, in fact, as well, is they see charging as an inconvenience. But like we said before, it's a mindset thing. I've had a few people recently going to buy electric cars. Well, my next door neighbour's just bought an electric car, and they think, charging on a 3-pin plug. I said, well, that's fine, but you just need to make sure that you're charging it little and often, because if you wait until it gets down to a certain mileage, you're like, I only did 50 miles last night. And he said, you're right, Tim, I should just get an AC charger, or like I said, just charge more frequently. But I think a lot of people just see charging as an inconvenience still. But like I said, it's just understanding that, okay, I'm getting to about that, and I need to do this tomorrow. Do you know what? Just a little bit extra, I'll plug it in. Just keep charging it to 80% like every night if you need to. You know, it's not going to harm the battery, especially if it's an LFP battery. But NMC battery, I normally charge, Rusty to 80% all the time. But now we've got 2 electric cars. We just swap all the time. Might be slightly different when the TVR's up and running, which I hope will be soon. So videos coming soon on that. But it's just, like I said, it's just that mindset. It's not, I get the light goes on. You know, I remember being in the motor trade. It's like, right, the light's on. How far can I go on the light? You have to worry about charging because you just go to any petrol station, fill up. It's just that, it's just that slight tweak, and it doesn't have to be an inconvenience unless you've got issues charging at home. Simple as that.
Yeah, and this is actually, I've just done the maths on it. So modern cars, say 300-mile range car, yeah, and you talk about the batteries and the lifespan of them. Say the battery lifespan's 1,500 cycles. That doesn't sound like much, 1,500 cycles. That would be the equivalent to 450,000 miles. So, you're talking huge mileages these batteries do. Could you say that a car engine with very little maintenance could do 450,000 miles? You're going to have to do a lot of stuff to the oily bits for that as well. So it's because people forget that these cycles are not, it's like a partial cycle doesn't count. It's like full cycles they're talking about. So from empty to full, basically. And that's a lot of miles.
Yeah. No, it is a lot of miles. I fancy, I can't remember how many cycles Lucky's done with 224k and Rusty with 130, but I'm sure Lucky's pretty close. So I'm not sure. Well, I don't think Lucky ever did 300 miles. I think it was more like 250 realistic miles with the performance because of the bigger wheels and stuff. But yeah, like I say, it's just changing that mindset, just a few little tweaks, and it really isn't an inconvenience. And yes, that you do need, I think, a little bit of knowledge. Whether you're taking it from charge heads or you're taking it from multiple channels out there, there's a massive resource. I mean, ChatGPT for a start. What are the things that I should think about when owning an EV? And I'm sure ChatGPT will give you full verse on that one. Maybe we should. I'm sure there's been like white papers and stuff like that written on it before, because we've been driving electric cars for a long time. So maybe we know too much sometimes and can't put ourselves in the shoes of people that are only just started on that journey.
Yeah, but it is easy
getting people to understand, isn't it? It's just it's different, yeah. And I definitely spend less, as much as it obviously, if you go the distance, you've quite often got to factor some sort of charging stop into it. The ease of plugging in at home when things are getting a bit low, you just get the kids out of the car and unravel the thing, plug it in you go, come out the next morning and it's ready to go. And also de-icing windows in the winter. There's one of those amazing things about EVs that you come out in the winter and it's ready to go. It's warm, the windows are clear and all the rest of it. That's just one of those real kind of great comfort features about it.
Or cold. I was literally just about to leave the Flitwick car show. It's boiling hot. I feel like my face is on fire. So I've been out in the sun all day. I go to the facilities. I'm thinking, it's so hot out there. I was thinking, quick, Tesla app, bang, bang, bang. And I got into the car, 18 degrees. I'm like, this is lovely. Very nice. Sorry, Kev. You were going to say something.
I mean, that's the thing. But just in the thing of balance, apparently I've been told that certain Range Rovers, you can do that as well, even though they're not electric. You can. Is
that when they've been stolen, or is that when they're still on your drive?
No, what you're suggesting is someone else has demisted it for you because they needed to demist it to take it off your drive.
Yeah, you don't need demisting because it's in the.
I got into.
Go on.
Sorry, go on. I got into a ridiculous conversation about this that went on and on and on for weeks on Twitter when I was still on it a couple of years ago.
Podcast, mate. Carry on.
Where I mentioned. What's that?
I said that sounds perfect for the podcast. Go on.
What's that?
Don't worry.
Yeah,
I said it.
It's the delays are someone's got a delay here, and I can't tell whether it's me or whether it's one of you guys.
Definitely not me and Kev.
Yeah,
So
no,
you're becoming live.
the-
Alex is coming live via satellite.
I don't know what is going on this week. It's picking me off. But yeah, I've lost my completely lost my train of thought. What Kevin was saying about you could be able to do that with a Land Rover. I had a thread that went on for hundreds of replies. People telling me the same thing about an EC4 I was driving, where I'd kind of mentioned about preconditioning it. It's just one of these things, cabin preconditioning, and just having the car do it all itself without any local emissions is just, you can't. It's an irrefutable benefit of having an EV. Even if you have a hybrid or something, you're going to be using some some petrol to do that. So
yeah,
sorry, I think it is me that's on the delay, isn't it?
Yes, it is, Alex. But it's fine.
Would you like me to go and come back?
No, yeah, just go. No, it's fine, mate. It's fine. We'll work with it. Anyone in the comments wants Alex just to leave, then just whack it in. Or more importantly, can you pop in the comments? I love the way that he laughed about 5 seconds after I said that. But yeah, anyone in the comments got any experience of what sort of long range journeys they've done in petrol diesel cars versus EV? Any issues they've had? Any challenges? Stuff that they wish they'd known before having an EV? It'd be really, really handy to know. I'll tell you what feedback I've been getting a lot recently. A few people have said, "Oh, I watched your videos about your high mileage Model 3s, and it's really given me the confidence to buy a high mileage Tesla," which is great. So it makes me feel a little bit nervous that maybe I've been lucky. No, the data out there suggests that most EVs, generally speaking, as long as it's not a Nissan Leaf or any of the older stuff, they are really good even when they get to higher mileage. And something that I wanted to mention was the fact that price is focused on the price. So electric vehicles that have got a decent range, that they're close to sort of 10 grand. And that's why I mentioned about the Corsa before, Kevin. Mm-hmm. So on EV database, and anyone that doesn't use this, it's a fantastic resource. So if you ever want to check charging speed of DC fast charging, AC charging, and also realistic range, EV database is great. And on chargeheads.uk, there's a resource where I downloaded all of the models, and they're in a spreadsheet, although it's not been updated for a while, so there's probably a few new ones. But can you guys think of any other sort of cheapy sub 10 grand cars where it's kind of 150 miles is definitely possible? I'm just going to reel off a few. So I think you mentioned the Corsa is possible. Obviously the MGs, the 5 and the ZS, Kia Niro and the Hyundai Kona are both under 10 grand. What others are out there, do you think?
Are they under that now?
Yeah. I checked the other day.
I was going to say, what you got? You've got probably the E208, which is the same as the Corsa.
Okay, yeah.
Probably the EC4s, the early ones of those. They're all the same car effectively underneath, so they'll all do. I'm trying to think. The second gen Ioniq, the original shape one.
Yes.
That's got a tiny battery, but punches about. When you consider that'll do over 150 miles with a 38 kilowatt hour pack, which the Corsa does with a just under 50 kilowatt pack. Yeah. The charging speed is the main issue with the original Ioniq, the second generation Ioniq, though, because it does struggle to hit over 42.
And I think that should be. I don't think everyone always thinks about these things, and because I'm a bit of a excuse my terminology, but car pervert, I'd always look into charging speed and all these things, because I think on an EV it matters even more so compared to looking at specifics on petrol and diesel, which you don't really need to think about as much because it is a bit simpler or well known. Bit like you don't put a match near the petrol tank. Things that it's just ingrained in us. Whereas EV, I think it's getting there, isn't it? That people are starting to understand, and kids will learn from an early age, of course, as well.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing I would say about diesel cars is you'd probably avoid them if you do city driving now, because they've all got DPFs in them.
Yeah,
all the newer ones, and around the city, you don't regen them. And I've seen people say EV batteries are expensive. Diesel particulate filter replacements and regens can be quite expensive. I've seen quotes of £1,000 a time to do a proper clean on it. And you think that adds up very quickly if you're doing that maybe once or twice a year.
Oh my God. Well, it's
You've
something
also
that
got GPFs now, haven't you?
Oh yeah,
So you've
petrol
got
cars.
gasoline particulate filters as well to worry about.
Yeah. One thing that is that I saw recently. So this guy in America, he had a 318,000 mile Tesla Model 3, and the battery went on it. It was like a 2019 Model 3. I can't remember if it was a standard range or long range. And he got a replacement battery and fitting, $5,000, which I thought was amazing. I mean, the warranty, it was like 6-month warranty and 10,000 miles. So I don't think it was the best health battery that was put in. It was better, obviously, than his original one. I mean, I'm not sure with that far away. I think there are companies out there that do it in the UK. £5,000 is obviously a lot less money than it would be in the UK. I think we're talking, I mean, even Tesla is sort of 9,000, but I don't see that an independent worth their salt, like maybe Cedar Electric, they can do it a lot less expensive than that. And I think I think this sort of stuff just needs to be shared, like, because just to dispel a few of those myths. I was really interested when we're talking about prices, how expensive like what I believe is probably one of the worst electric cars out there from efficiency, range, and motor reliability. You can get an Audi e-tron now for 11.5 grand. That's bananas. I mean, it's done 170,000 miles. There's another one
you
here.
Could.
But would you?
Want it? No. Then there's another one here with 141,000 miles on a 21 plate, 11,750. That was the first electric car I ever drove, was an e-tron. Yeah.
I mean,
and you're still here.
Yeah.
Actually,
exactly.
they're not awful. But as an EV, they're under par for an EV, aren't they? Or above par. I'm not a golfer. They're not good enough for what they were. As a car, they're an entirely fine car, but yes, they're not as good as they could be.
Yeah, I will give them one thing though. They do look really cool with a massive set of wheels and modified. I've seen a few modified ones. They do look pretty menacing. So maybe I've been a bit hard.
Got to have big wheels.
Got to put the big wheels on. You got to really ruin the efficiency that much more, because 2 miles per kilowatt just wasn't bad enough. So yeah, top tip.
Trying to get to single figures, are you? So that 71 kilowatt hour pack gets you 71.
I'm not driving an electric HGV, Kevin. Not yet.
And buy the cheapest high performance tires you can get with the lowest possible efficiency rating. Well,
chaps.
That's the way to do it. Or stick on some Toyo R888s. I'm sure they'd be amazing on it.
Well, I got a little email from a tyre company many might not have heard of. Now, I've gone through a few tyres in my drifting career, such as Linglongs and Triangles and West Sails and some amazing name of tyres. And I had Radar reach out to me, and I'd heard of those tyres before, RADAR, and they want me to test some tyres. And I thought, this is fantastic. And because obviously I've got winter tyres on Rusty at the moment, which is not giving me the best efficiency. It's like 270, which is, I don't know, what's that? 3.3 miles per kilowatt. If I'm driving really sensibly in like hot weather, not going crazy on the aircon. So I could have some Radar tyres come my way. Guys, have you come across those before?
Not a brand I've heard of.
I have come across them, but not,
No, okay. Yeah. Well, we'll see what happens. There could be, because Nankangs, they were rubbish back in the day, weren't they? And look at them now. Pretty special. A bit of I'm hoping that they are going to send me a nice new set. So if anybody wants some lovely winter 2, 3, 5, 40, 19 tyres Michelin's, then there might be some on the market soon. Anyway, enough about me. I feel like Kevin hasn't spoken enough, and range is his subject. So what would you like to talk about, Kev?
Well, I think one of the things we actually touched on, which you said about batteries and range, is, a lot of companies now are doing battery state of health certificates, but I have noticed on a number of YouTube channels, these are being used as a bit of a weapon to say the batteries aren't lasting. And this is what I wish I could. It annoys me so much. This does, is they'll pick on stuff which is irrelevant. So, like, I've seen so many people on their YouTube channels say that batteries are dangerous because in the battery report it says external battery issue, tests can't be completed. Yeah, external battery is 12-volt battery. It's the old-fashioned one, and it's like we all know that well, Alex even knows from his petrol car, if you've got a 12-volt battery that's under delivering on voltage, the computer systems in cars really don't like that, and they'll throw huge numbers of faults and errors. And then they're saying that people are, the other thing is people are hiding. It's a new diesel gate, it's battery gate. People are hiding the things. No, they've just put a new 12-volt battery on it, and it's made the faults go away because the computer now knows what it's doing. And that really annoys me. That something.
I've got something that's just reminded me, which I completely agree with you, Kevin. It's a mountain out of a molehill. However, one of the EV, I would we say anti, some say realistic, depending on whatever. But this guy is mainly negative EVs. But there was one video which was really, really interesting, and I think it's something to be very, very aware of. Apparently, watch this EV go through the auction. It was a Mercedes EQ electric vehicle, which I used to add, I wouldn't buy a electric Mercedes myself because I know that they played a little bit with a few issues from a use point of view. I'm sure they're fine in warranty. But the report, and I think it was a BCA report, whatever the report they showed, it showed that one of the cells was a hell of a lot lower than all the other ones. And he highlighted that a trader had bought it in auction and then he put it up for sale on Auto Trader, not mention anything about the battery at all. So I think there are certain things to be aware of. Anybody that I talk to now, the guy I was talking to today that was asking recommendations on what to look out for and all the rest of it, get an EV report done. Ask for the BCA one if it was out of BCA. If it's a Tesla, tell them to do a Tesla test. There's loads of testing companies out there now. I think it's really, really essential so you don't get bit on the backside. So it'd be interesting. I mean, I haven't got time to look through the auctions to find electric cars with bad batteries, but I don't know if anybody else out there has a account. Maybe I should ask my trader mate who looks on the market all the time to see if he finds one, and then see if we can find it on Auto Trader later, and we could do a special video on it. Oh, that sounds good. Call him out. Why are you selling that car? It's got a bad battery. Let's do a battery test. Oh no, you can't do a battery test. Why is that, Mr. Sheepskin Jacket? Del Boy. I don't know. Sorry, I'm on one today. I've probably had too much coffee. I'm really sorry.
It's a difficult one though, isn't it? Really, because the other thing is if it's going through sort of a main deal, they could have repaired it as well. There is if it's a battery module, they could have replaced that one battery module. So it's a difficult one, really, isn't it? That's why you want an up-to-date battery state of health report to show that it has been repaired in that case. Yeah.
And I can't think that an EQ Mercedes will be out of a battery warranty. What is the battery warranty on an EQ?
8 years.
Yeah, it must be. Or
standard. Yeah. So you could have, some of these ones which have been picked up, if they're under battery warranty, you could well have had that thing replaced.
And I'm sure it was an EQ, not one of the old B-class electric arts. I love those. They're really cool.
Maybe ED ones. They're Tesla parts, aren't they? I've driven
Tesla
one.
motors,
quite interesting vehicles.
Tesla large drive units reversed and Tesla batteries. The only problem with them is they don't have fast charging.
11 kilowatt charging.
Yeah.
Cool. There's one other issue with them. There's one other issue with them, which I've found out, is they're the only 3-pin charger that allows you to pull 13 amps. So the chargers they came with on a 3-pin plug would do continuous 13 amps. They're notorious for melting power sockets because 13 amps off a 13 amp socket continuously is pushing it a bit.
You can get them for $5,000 now, and they do. It's called like a. Oh, there we go. there's also a particular, I think on all of them, there's like a boost mode, which gives you extra performance. But I did hear, could be rubbish, that that does hurt the battery a little bit. But yeah, I mean, they're super cheap now. And if you're only charging at home, it's not a bad shout with an AC charger, not a 3-pin plug, as Kev mentioned just there. I'm going to see if I can find the cheapest.
Well, as a school run kind of car, they'd be great, wouldn't they?
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, B-Class ED as a school run car. I mean, you'd probably need, you wouldn't be a single car household, but think of the number of vehicles that kind of do almost entirely local trips. It'd probably do more miles than supposedly the main family car, because it'll do all the local stuff. Charge it at home every couple of days, and it'd be fine. Be a great little run around. They're nice cars, actually. Nice is a slightly complex term, I guess. In that case, they're not pretty things or particularly kind of amazing to drive, but they're nice. They're nice enough things to spot around in.
I mean, soiled the bed, people. I've really not looked at the used market for a while, but you can get an EQA Mercedes with under 1,000 miles, 21 plate, 15 grand now. I need to look into this because obviously. Yeah, I've not really looked at anything other than Elon Musk's production line, other than like Kias and stuff. But yeah, wow. I mean, it just goes to show there's so much choice out there now, isn't there, chaps? So much choice. Some better than others.
Yeah, friends of ours got an EQA. It's a nice car. It's a nice car as well.
But I thought everyone said that
it's quite
too expensive. Now they're too
basically
cheap.
a seven-seater, but.
One at a time.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just trying to think of I think while we're on the subject of used, are there any cars that people would like, do not touch it with a barge pole?
Off the top of my head.
Sorry, Leaf owners. I wouldn't.
Only really the really early Leafs were the worst, weren't they? The ones that were like.
No,
really
30 kilowatt hours. The 24 kilowatt hour battery Leafs were better than the slightly newer 30 kilowatt hour battery ones.
Was that just because they'd rammed so much more battery capacity into the same space without thermal management?
Pretty much. I bought one of these once for the dealership I used to work for, a DS3 Crossback. You seen these before?
Oh wow, yeah, I've driven one of those as well. That's
they're a funky monkey.
Did you drive it on the EV Rally, the E-Tense one?
No, I drove it when they put the new powertrain in it. God, 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago.
I don't think anybody ever needs. I don't think anybody ever needs a car with the word tense in it, especially an electric one. E-Tense. it just doesn't fit. It just doesn't sit right with me. Not at all.
Especially in discussion about range.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like I feel like I just want to look at used cars now. I'm really interested to see where the costs are. But let's have another podcast on this. I'll do some more research and hopefully point out some bargains. There we go. Electric used car bargains chat we'll have in a couple of weeks after next week. Because we've got Seb, a special guest next week, talking about save money on charging. I'm sure he won't. I'm sure we won't talk about Teslas. He's not a fan. Kev knows what I mean. So anyway,
locking horns here.
I'm testing a Tesla in a few weeks' time.
Yes, tell us about that, Kevin.
Yeah, so I'm going to be testing the new Highland, isn't it? And then is it Juniper, the Model Y?
Is it the Y?
Yeah. So so I'm doing the Model 3 and then a Model Y.
Well, at least you got indicators, so that's at least a good thing. I think you're going to be pleasantly surprised, and if you're not coming back on YV.
Oh, eat my own hair, as Clarkson once said.
Firefly isn't a great idea for a name either. Firefly. Yeah, for electric car, you're right. Definitely. Oh dear. Yeah. Is there anything we haven't covered on range? I know we haven't talked about many about ICE vehicles very much, other than Alex mentioned about the fuel tank size, which I do remember when I used to sell them back then. Literally, that was the year I stopped selling in 2015. with multiple different engine powers. But yeah, I think it's just done. It's like, I think it's one part of the jigsaw piece that I've said it too many times. Anything else we've missed?
Well, actually, we've got one person here who could tell us the range of an ICE vehicle.
Me?
Yeah.
The next door neighbour.
What is the range of your ICE vehicle to a full tank of fuel?
Well, my ICE vehicle it's got a relatively small fuel tank. Not that I'm coming up with racing driver excuses here, but 350 on a good day, 330 to 350. So there's plenty of EVs that will do that. And because I'm a Burke, mine's mapped for super unleaded, which I can only get from a couple of places without kind of, especially if I did late on a Sunday night. If I've got like an early morning trip, I've got to kind of drive 5-10 minutes off to the nearest Tesco or Shell station to go and find myself some 97 or 99 ROM.
Do they not do super
unleaded on the drive?
Do they not do super unleaded?
They do.
They're super unleaded everywhere around here. Like,
oh no, there's plenty of places. They all shut. That's the only problem. You have to go like the nearest one to me is a Texaco garage, and I have to drive past the Tesco garage with all the superchargers to get to it. Or in the other direction, I can drive to another Tesco garage and I have to drive past the local Osprey chargers to get to it. And in both cases, I'm driving away from the home charging point that I'd be using for my my own car, for my EV rather.
I noticed you picked up something else in that thing you said as well, Alex. You said a lot of them are shut when you need to do it. What's this? So you just don't tap your card and they work?
We do if you go to a Tesco, which is why I tend to go to those. But yes, yeah.
Just one thing to add as well. The only cars that I can remember what a full tank could get me in miles was my Toyota Alphard camper van, which is a 3-litre V6. I thought it had a decent tank. I mean, it certainly drank like, about 80 quid's worth of fuel. And that would do, if I drove it like Miss Daisy, 300 miles, although it is like a Toyota Previa, probably a bit bigger and heavier. And my Audi S3, I could never really get much more than 300 miles to tank out of it. Yeah. But yeah, 300. I don't really ever remember that.
The worst range anxiety I've ever had was about 10 years ago when BMW launched kind of a load of nice to drive 30E plug-in hybrids, but all of which had a less than 20 miles of electric range and tiny fuel tanks. So for 6 weeks, I lived with a long wheelbase. It was an LEX drive, so it was a 730 LEX drive, so long wheelbase, 4-wheel drive, plug-in hybrid, rear wheel steering, the works. It had a 42-litre fuel tank in a 7 Series, and it was petrol as well. It wasn't a diesel hybrid. Now, just to give you some context of how small that is, because I know not everyone here remembers how small that is. 42 litres is the same size fuel tank as the Polo has, and the Polo weighs about a third of what the 7 Series was weighing. I actually had one. I stopped off at a hotel it was a lovely car, don't get me wrong, but I had to stop off at I stayed overnight in a cheap hotel somewhere near Solihull, and it was over the weight limit for the car park. The car park had a 2-ton weight limit, and so I had to go and park with all the minibuses and the trucks around the back of the and the vans and stuff around the back of the thing. And I went and asked and said, is this just to stop people putting heavy goods vehicles? He said, nope. If it's over 2 tons, you've got to park it somewhere else. But there we
go. Trevor's just chipped in. I think you're the first time I've seen you pop in a comment, so thanks for commenting. What EV are you guys window shopping for the future, or are you simply happy with what you've got? What a fantastic question. Kev?
So I actually do have to start shopping for my replacement EV in October, because my one ends in March. So I don't know. I really don't know what to get now. I mean, I'm waiting to see what the Ioniq 6 facelift is like, because I know Alex likes the shape of the Ioniq 6 front. I'm not a big fan. I don't think it looks angry enough or aggressive enough on the front of the Ioniq 6. And I think the new one does look a bit more aggressive if it's anything like the N. So I'm tempted to have a look at one of those. Thing is, I quite like some of the big ones, which are really pointless for me to travel as one person. I like the EV9. I like the new Ioniq 9, but I really don't need either of those cars.
I've got a prediction. After you drive the Tesla Model Y, you're going to want a Tesla. I'm going to put it out there. I'm going to be completely wrong, but I'm going to put it out there. I'm going to put it out there. Alex, what do you reckon?
If I were shopping, which I'm not at the moment, I mean, we're going to end up at some point parting ways with the van because I don't need the child carrying capacity and the 7-seat configuration anymore. If at some point then I'm coming back to buying an EV, it'll probably be top of my list. It'll either be very sensibly a Kona, less sensibly a Polestar 2 because I love them and I don't know why. I've just got a thing for the Polestar 2. Or if I'm going to buy something new, I really want a Renault 5. I've got a real thing for the Renault 5, and I really want to give one a go at some point, but I almost don't care what it drives like. I'm just absolutely in love with it. Yeah, the Alpine would be the dream, but I think I'd be quite content for as a runaround to just have the to have the regular one.
I saw an Alpine at the
in LEG yellow naturally because you can take the boy off max power, but you can't take the max power out of the boy. Have you seen the video with it? Oh yeah, I sent it, didn't I?
Yeah.
There is a video of LEG driving around in an electric Renault 5 and stopping and charging it and having a pasty while he's charging it.
Yeah,
it's worth looking at.
Body double. Well, funnily enough, the Yanni video that I put out this morning, when I went to Yanamize Live, which it does focus on EVs, I hasten to add, and there's some really fun wrestling in there. So check out that video. There was an Alpine there, which was really good to see, and also a Hoonigan spec Vauxhall Mocha. So I thought of you chaps. You have to watch it now after I gave you those two gems. So Trevor, obviously I've got 2 Teslas, which I'm looking to just eat up the miles on, and I've got the TVR, which is in progress still. However, there was a car that took my fancy, and I know it's going to be for sale soon. A friend of mine, Russ, who's got a couple of electric Lotuses, a Lotus Evora and Elise conversions. He bought a Peugeot 106 original electric with NiCad batteries in, and he's actually upgraded it. It's like absolutely mint, he says, and I've seen it. There's a video actually on my channel where I go and see his whole place and we go out in the Lotuses, but he's just MOT'd it and he's put a Nissan Leaf stack in it and upgraded batteries, and he says it goes like something off a shovel. If I had space, 100%, and I know he's going to sell it, and I'm going to be doing a video on that car soon, so watch this space. Anyone got a whack in the comments what cars they're looking to buy, because I think a few people have put it in there. But yeah, that 106 with a motor swap, that's got to be one of the first, isn't it? Yeah, that is very exciting. And the 106, what a cool car, and it only weighs 1.16 tons as well.
Yeah, because I know Ewan did a battery swap. Ewan McTurk did a battery swap on his, but he didn't do the motor swap, did he?
Yeah, and the Nissan Leaf, you could. I mean, I don't know what batteries he's put in it, because Darla, another YouTube channel, he put a different inverter on his Leaf and gave it more power. It made 0 to 60 like a second quicker or something. So there is opportunity for that if there's enough. I think it's got the certain voltage of battery pack. So yeah, might be asking Russ what he did there.
That's reminded me of the conversions at London to Brighton we saw this year.
Because his Lotus, he was there.
No, but we saw there's some of the old VW buses which are complete ID powertrains. So it's like a drop-in ID powertrain on the old-fashioned microbus.
Volkswagen used to sell them for air-cooled stuff. You could actually buy a conversion kit using the e-up motor. They used to sell it as a conversion. Yeah. Yeah,
there's a video where when I went to Everything Electric, I think it was. We did a video on that very vehicle. Yeah, so it's OEM. It's an OEM conversion, but obviously they stopped doing it after, I think it was COVID that happened. Great question, Trevor. Hopefully that's answered the question there. Mark's just popped in. Once had a Marina with a hole in the tank, so 60 miles range.
Bet his emissions were lower though, because most of it went.
Was that, Kev?
But it's probably a lower tailpipe emissions, just higher liquid emissions.
Good point.
Don't like a match behind it.
Dean's going for an ID7 Tourer. I've seen a few of those on the road recently, actually,
See,
and a
it's
few of
good
the
shout.
fives.
This is the one thing I just can't get over on my head with the ID stuff, is if you have a nice set of alloy wheels on it, nice with big holes in them and stuff, you see the drum brakes. And I don't know, there's nothing, cosmetically, I think a set of discs looks nicer.
It's the petrol
You can
engine.
get those horrid things that you bolt between the wheel and the brake drum. You can get
I
them in
mean,
a
a
multitude
real-
of different anodized colors: red, blue, silver, pink.
Yeah, I need a
And
real
you just put
caliper
it. I
on
mean,
there.
they'll be like the Jetta in Fast and Furious. No brake calipers.
It'd be like the
it's a niche joke.
MG4 X Power with the bigger plastic
yes,
covers
yeah.
on the calipers. Yeah,
Tesla,
there's lots
yeah,
of
but there's a Tesla does that as well, doesn't it?
yeah. There's well, not from standard
With the
people.
covers.
Yeah. So I was thinking about spraying, because I've got red calipers at the front and silver at the back of my Tesla at the moment. I was thinking about spraying yellow at front and yellow at the back. Oh, and I've got I think I've got some extra
Ceramic.
things coming from us soon. I won't spoil it. Trevor's just added. I've been here before. We spoke about the BMW's Z4 Coupe manual. Yes, I remember.
yeah.
Sorry, bud. I'm actually looking at a BYD Seal Model 3 or EQC. Are you looking at brand new or used? Obviously, my choice would be 3 Seal and then the Merc, just from a reliability point of view, especially if it's used.
But if it's a new Merc as well,
Mm.
there's the issue, isn't there, where they're only 800-volt charging, which narrows your charging infrastructure. It's a new EQC.
I need to drive a BYD Seal. I want to have a go in one. And the new IM.
Good car.
Yeah. Guys, we've run over. I think we've the range wars have gone on longer than expected. If we just do a quick, just say thank you very much for everyone who contributed. Please share. 100% used. Okay, definitely the Model 3 then. In my opinion.
Not biased at all, Tim. Yeah.
And no, not at all. And what price have you got? Because I've had so many people ask me about Model 3 stuff recently, and I forget how much perverted knowledge I have on the Model 3. Because Chinese ones, obviously, I'd probably go that route. And the way to say if it's Chinese, if you're looking at 2021 model, is a heated steering wheel and the woods on the door cards. But yeah, it'd be interesting to know what your budget is. Dean's just put in next subject for you. Will EVs ever remove the brake discs? Purely brakes, though, the electric motors.
So
that's a good point, actually.
There's one car that's trying to do that. It's not an EV as such. It's the what's it called? The River Simple, when they do in-wheel motors, because the supercapacitors. And I think even with EVs, to do that, you're going to need supercapacitors, because you need to be able to take a lot of energy quickly. And the other thing is, what happens when your battery's full?
There'll be extra.
So I don't think you can ever take the mechanical brakes away. You might not use them much. We don't use them much now, would you? But I think it's as a safety thing for that emergency stop when you've got to slam the anchors on. You have to have them work.
Yeah, Trevor, I reckon 22 or 23 plate Model 3 long range. You won't be disappointed. But yeah, let's talk about what we're doing this week. I've got another busy week at work, and it won't be a Wednesday video as normal. It'll probably be an earlier one, because I want to get this Flitwick car show video out, because I'm sure there'll be a lot of other people putting the same sort of video out, but not so much EV stuff. And I want to try and capture a few more petrol heads rather than just the EV people, which I'm hoping a lot of people already follow the channel. But yeah, just working hard, really. Kev, what are you up to?
So I'm off to Belfast for a Q&A session on Thursday. Then I'm doing a car event on Saturday, and hopefully Carfest on Sunday.
Oh yeah, sorry, I'm going to Silverstone.
You can name the car event.
Can I? I can't remember what it was. In Radwood.
Kev's going to Radwood in a certain 1990s car. So.
Very cool, very cool. I forgot. I'm going to be at Silverstone Festival on Saturday around the Tesla stand, and Lucky's going to be there. So if anyone's at the Silverstone Festival, I'll be there. Might have a couple of sherbets in the evening. Who knows? So yeah, if anyone's there, come say hello. What are you up to, Alex?
Mostly secret squirrel stuff, but the interesting thing this week has been the Trump Federal Highway Authority has revived the charging funding program in the States. So that's all back. Yeah. It's quite interesting. So that's gonna be an interesting one. Sorry?
How did that come about?
So well, they've realized that they can't get rid of it without congressional approval, so they have to follow it through. So they've revised it slightly, and actually the changes they've made seem quite sensible. But I have some work in that space, which is going to be so filling in the gaps on that will be interesting this week. But yeah, interesting to see, and good news. Obviously, it means that it's the $5 billion NEVI program, which is putting in rapid charging hub all strategically across the US road network is back up and running, which is good.
That is very good. Yes. I'll be excited to tell people at work on that one. So Lewis has just commented he's taking his EV to the Netherlands, ferry from Newcastle. And someone else is going from Hull in an MG5. Brother is going from Harwich in a Kona refresh. So you kind of all going in across the sea, all going to electric Netherlands. And I know Netherlands, there's a lot of electric cars there, so I'm sure you won't have any issues charging. Let us know how you get on with the infrastructure and what the cost is. I know France is cheap as chips. I don't know what Netherlands is like. And Shane's just added, don't you think EV thing is just a stopgap or a money grab until hydrogen is introduced? I think a lot of people think that. However, if you didn't know, I work for Dynamon. We are part of a consortium called ZHID. There's 4 consortiums in it, 2 electric. This is focused on HGV, which you would think hydrogen would be the first thing, right? 2 are fully electric, GridServe 1 in Volt Tempo. We're part of Zen Freight, and we focus on electric and hydrogen. And there's a specific hydrogen one, High Haul. And High Haul had all sorts of issues trying to get hydrogen trucks, and they've come from Electra. And we had all sorts of issues getting the hydrogen trucks. I think we've borrowed some from Scania in Europe. The main issue, like a lot of people say with electric, is infrastructure. But hydrogen infrastructure is that much harder to deal with than electric infrastructure because you don't find hydrogen lots of places. So in my opinion, personal cars, hydrogen is, I don't think, certainly in the next 10 years, be a thing. Yeah. I don't think it's ever going to be a thing. Trucks is coming a little bit in Europe, depending on, because electricity-wise, if it's green hydrogen, bear in mind there's 10 different colours. Green hydrogen, it takes 3 times more electricity to make the hydrogen, and it's not that efficient process to get the vehicle running from hydrogen anyway, through the exchange of hydrogen into motion, whereas electric's a lot more efficient. There's a whole lot more to it than that. I'm not a specialist in that area as such, but the way that I see it, it's a long road for hydrogen, if a very short one. But I think there will be use cases because, in China, I know that Alex wants to chip in because he's got his own thoughts on it. In China, they've got electric, hydrogen, ice, and battery swaps, and obviously normal diesel as well. But I just don't think it's got much legs apart from very specific, like, I don't know, combine harvesters that don't stop, or just with the battery technology as it's going, I don't see it happening. That's my opinion. So yeah, there it is. Yeah, go on, Alex. Sorry.
I think you'll need both. I think it's a long way off for cars, if at all. I think the cars, before diesel was pushed heavily in Europe, the kinds of vehicles that used diesel, before it became pushed into everything and you had like diesel C1s and stuff that never really needed it, I think the vehicles that actually had diesel may eventually use hydrogen, but who knows? And I think it's something to look at, something to watch. At the moment, it seems to be getting going. And to pick up on what Dean said, if you can give me Dean's comment, because I can't do that. Dean's put in the comments, he says hydrogen cars have been coming for 20 years. Hydrogen cars have been coming for 60 years because the Lunar Lander was a hydrogen fuel cell vehicle, and it was co-developed by GM, who had a derivative of that technology in a van in the 1960s. So hydrogen cars have been coming for forever and haven't quite made it. But I think hydrogen cars are secondary. They'll be a symptom of hydrogen coming in for trucks. So I think, Lunar Rover, not Lunar Lander. Did I say Lunar Lander? I can't remember. The little buggy that they were using on the moon was GM fuel cell tech. So it's been coming for a long time.
Yeah, I mean, you can get a Toyota Myra brand new. I think they might have that on the forecourt for a while, because I think there's only about 3 hydrogen public fuel stations out there. Shane's just mentioned CNG, who do HGV, alternative fuels, and all companies are moving to CNG. CNG are already doing hydrogen for HGV. Look into them. Yeah, CNG and LNG. Yeah, that is definitely something that Tesco's and a lot of the big fleets are focused on and buying at the moment. So the company I work for don't just do an analysis and work out simulations for electric and hydrogen, but also move into alternative fuels as well. CNG are already doing hydrogen for HGV.
Isn't that one of the different coloured hydrogens though, when you just...
Sorry, CNG is the company, but CNG is also a fuel. I think that's where I've misinterpreted. Yeah, CNG and LNG. So it's a type of liquid gas and compressed gas for trucks. That is a right thing. That is a good. I say good thing. That is something that, like I said, a lot of fleets using at the moment while we transition to electric. But do I think that electric is a stopgap? I really don't. I think electric cars are a stopgap until
it's stay.
Yeah, electric cars are a stopgap until full self-driving, where it will just get into something and it will take us there, unless you're
and it'll be electric.
If you're a car like
it's worth remembering, of course, as well that the actual powertrain side of an electric and a hydrogen car are the same thing. They both use an electric motor, unless you're talking about a hydrogen combustion engine, which I don't really see being a massive thing. So yeah, you're from a manufacturing point of view, if you're able to share all the tech and offer the same truck with either a battery or a fuel cell stack, I just think that's where you're going to start to see the economies of scale kick in, and it might have a role. You can have an electric truck, and you pick your options to suit your route.
I've got a feeling
and I don't think there's ever been a fuel that suits all problems, is there?
I've got a feeling that Shane might come at the end of the next podcast and go, "What do you reckon about synthetic fuels?" But no, Shane, it's a really good question, and we normally go for an hour. We could all go for a lot longer on all of these conversations, but I think we need to get some sleep before Monday morning, that's for sure. But thanks, Shane. Thanks for everyone for your comments today. Thanks for listening in. We'll be here next week with a guest, Seb. And we are going to be talking about how to save money on charging. So tune in next week, and don't forget, lots of videos on Chargeheads ready to go, and check out LinkedIn of Kevin Booker, Tim Aylan, that's me, and Alex Grant for anything that we're doing in that workspace. Thank you very much. We'll see you next week. Oh, wait. There's a few more comments, and I've just pressed